Let's have a play with the 114 ScrawlrBox.
Hey Scrawlers, I'm Kat from ScrawlrBox and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to get stuck into some of those tips and tricks as seen in the 114 zine. Let's get into it.
A quick little refresher of what was inside the 114 ScrawlrBox before we crack on. This month's box was all about embracing the expressive side of art with acrylics, as inspired by our featured artist, Art by Raphael. Bye! This was the beautiful featured art, and we had ArtBoards to work on as our surface this month. And of course, every box comes with a zine full of tips and tricks on how to use these supplies, including tips from the artist himself. Let's crack on and have a go at some of these, shall we? I'll be using the artboard from the box, which is a lovely, smooth, white and thick, and you can also use both sides. Grab 2 pots of water as we'll be painting, plus a palette. And I've also got some masking tape and an eraser here too to help me out. Although if you don't have an eraser, there is one on the end of the pencil, hidden away in that little metal casing. Handy. Here's my reference. It's not what I plan to do completely, as this is an inspired by prompt for our Scrawler Challenge, so I thought I'd try and embrace that a little bit along with the tips. I'm going to start with the background, and I want to make some nice blocks, so I'm using masking tape to mask off my areas. By applying it to my jumper first, it just decreases the stickiness a little bit, so when you rip it back up again, it shouldn't pull off any paper. Right, let's mix a colour, and I want to make a pink. So that means red and white. Mix that thoroughly so you get a consistent colour, and then I've applied it to the page on the masking tape. Then using the art card, I'm going to pull the paint down, wiping off any excess paint to keep it tidy. I didn't use a consistent pressure on purpose, and I did a few different swipes down. That way I create this nice texture you see here. Let that dry. I really should invest in a hairdryer. Then pull the tape off. I didn't wait for it to dry, did I? I'm going to keep that little ball of masking tape because I think it'll make a nice texture. Same again for the other side. I'm going to split this background into 2 rectangles, making it a bit less literal. I'm going to let that dry, so I'm going to make sure I clean my paintbrush thoroughly before I move on to the next thing. Background done. On to the next step. Grab your Derwent precision pencil. I'm going to use this to draw in some bits. I've decided I want to keep the leaves leafy, and then I'm going to add some circles on to make expressive-y lemons. I changed my mind. I completely fell out of that idea, and I've decided I'm going to go with these new thoughts. I want to make the lemons look like lemons, but not. So I'm making a lemon shape out of paper, cutting it out, and then splitting them. Now they're like abstract-y lemons. Keeping this paper for future cat. Because I've cut them from paper first, I can place the shapes on my page and see how they look split before I actually commit to this plan. I like it. I'm going for it. Using the paper as a little guide to draw around with. Then it's time for some yellow. I'm going to add a dab of white to this one because it brightens the yellow a little bit and helps make it a little bit more opaque. Don't overload your paintbrush. You can swipe off the excess by using an empty palette section. It's important not to overload, otherwise you're going to get all sorts of streak marks. It's always best to work in nice light layers. Acrylic is super easy to lay on top of each other to get it nice and thick. I'm really glad I did this. Let it all dry. I love the combination of yellow and pink. It's making me very happy. Very happy indeed. I'm now moving on to the next layer, which is actually the background leaves. This isn't the way you're supposed to work with acrylics. It is best to work doing the back stuff first, so you work from back to front. I got distracted with my lemons idea, but no worries, this paintbrush can be used in different angles to get into all those little nooks and crannies. This acrylic laid down really smooth on the actual board, and then when you paint it over the background, you get all the texture in there too. Another great thing about acrylics is you can layer over without worrying about lifting up the previous layer, so you get nice clean colours. And these really are super bright. Let that dry and we're going to move on to the next step. And I wanted to show you how this pencil layers over the acrylics. The lead is super sharp, so it layers over really easily, even cutting into some of the paint on the thicker areas, which I actually found really satisfying. Just adding in more bits of yellow for the bits that aren't covered properly. I don't like those yellow smudges I've made in the corner, so I've decided to cover them. I was going to add dots using the pencil end, but it has a hole in it, so I decided to use the lollipop instead. Perfect. Quick little practice run to see if this actually works. We're good to go. I felt like I wanted to add more marks, so I did. And then I felt like I wanted to add more pink in, so I grabbed that lollipop stamp back in action. The lolly stick was the hero of today. Thank you, lolly stick. Inspired by lemons, done.
There we have it. Tips and tricks with the 114 ScrawlrBox done. I had loads of fun with these supplies. Even if I did have to improvise slightly, it was super fun to do something different. I hope you found this video useful. Until next time, keep scrolling!
Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, leave a little lemon emoji. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.